Section 2 of The Letters of Lord Nelson to Lady Hamilton, Volume 2. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Adrian Wheel. The Letters of Lord Nelson to Lady Hamilton, Volume 2, by Horatio Nelson. Section 2. Letters 45 to 50. Letter 45. Victory, April the 23rd, 1804. My dearest Emma, Hallowell has promised me, if the Admiralty will give him leave to go to London, that he will call at Merton. His spirit is certainly more independent than almost any man's I ever knew, but, I believe, he is attached to me. I am sure he has no reason to be so to either Trowbridge or any one at the Admiralty. I have sent last night a box of maraschino veritabile of Zara, which I got Jemmy Anderson to buy for me, and 12 bottles of Tokay. I have kept none for myself, being better pleased that you should have it. I am, ever and for ever, your most faithful and affectionate Nelson and Bronté. Hallowell parted last night, but being in sight, I am sending a frigate with a letter to the Admiralty. May God Almighty bless you, and send us a happy meeting. Letter 46. Victory, May the 5th, 1804. I find, my dearest Emma, that your picture is very much admired by the French consul at Barcelona, and that he has not sent it to be admired, which I am sure it would be, by Bonaparte. They pretend that there were 3 pictures taken. I wish I had them, but they are all gone, as irretrievably as the dispatches, unless we may read them in a book, as we printed their correspondence from Egypt. But, from us, what can they find out? That I love you, most dearly, and hate the French, most damnably? Dr. Scott went to Barcelona to try to get the private letters, but I fancy they are all gone to Paris. The Swedish and American consuls told him that the French consul had your picture, and read your letters, and Doctor thinks one of them probably read the letters. By the master's account of the cutter, I would not have trusted a pair of old shoes in her. He tells me she did not sail, but was a good sea-boat. I hope Mr. Marsden will not trust any more of my private letters in such a conveyance. If they choose to trust the affairs of the public in such a thing, I cannot help it. I long for the invasion being over. It must finish the war, and I have no fears for the event. I do not say all I wish, and which, my dearest, beloved Emma, read that, whoever opens this letter, and for what I care, publish it to the world. Your fertile imagination can readily fancy, I would say, but this I can say with great truth, that I am for ever yours. Letter 47. Victory, May the 27th, 1804. My dearest Emma, yesterday I took Charles Connor on board, from the Phoebe, to try what we can do with him. At present, poor fellow, he has got a very bad eye, and I almost fear that he will be blind of it, owing to an olive stone striking his eye. But the surgeon of the Victory, who is by far the most able medical man I have ever seen, and equally so as a surgeon, says that if it can be saved, he will do it. The other complaint, in his head, is but little more, I think, than it was when he first came to Deal, a kind of silly laugh when spoken to. He always complains of a pain in the back part of his head, but when that is gone, I do not perceive but that he is as wise as many of his neighbours. You may rely, my dear Emma, that nothing shall be wanting, on my part, to render him every service. Capel, although I am sure very kind to younkers, I do not think has the knack of keeping them in high discipline. He lets them be their own master too much. I paid Charles' account yesterday. Since he has been in the Phoebe, £155 14s. However, he must now turn over a new leaf, and I sincerely hope, poor fellow, that he will yet do well. I wrote you on the 22nd through Rosas, in Spain, and I shall write in a few days by Barcelona. This goes by Gibraltar. I have wrote Admiral Lutwidge. Mrs. Lutwidge must wait, for I cannot get through all my numerous letters, for whoever writes, although upon their own affairs, are offended if they are not answered. I have not seen young Bailey. I suppose he is in the Leviathan. By the parcel I see he is in the Canopus, and I can, at present, be of no use to him. May the 30th. Charles is very much recovered. I write you this day by Barcelona. Your dear Phiz, but not the least like you, on the cup is safe, but I would not use it for the world, for if it was broke, it would distress me very much. Your letters, by Swift, I shall never get back. The French consul at Barcelona is bragging that he has 3 pictures of you from the Swift. I do not believe him, but what if he had 100? Your resemblance is so deeply engraved in my heart, that there it can never be effaced, and, who knows, some day I may have the happiness of having a living picture of you. Old Mother L is a damned bee, but I do not understand what you mean, or what plan. I am not surprised at my friend Kingsmill admiring you, and forgetting Mary. He loves variety, and handsome women. You touch upon the old Duke, but I am dull of comprehension. Believing you all my own, I cannot imagine any one else to offer in any way. We have enough, with prudence, and without it we should soon be beggars if we had 5 times as much. I see Lord Stafford is going to oppose Mr. Addington. The present ministry cannot stand. I wish Mr. Addington had given you the pension. Pitt and hard-hearted Grenville never will. What a fortune the death of Lord Camelford gives him! Everything you tell me about my dear Horatia charms me. I think I see her, hear her, and admire her, but she is like her dear, dear mother. I am sorry if your account of George Martin's wife is correct. He deserved a better fate, but he is like Foley, gave up a great deal to marry the relation of a great man, although, in fact, she is no relation to the Duke of Portland. I wish I could but be at dear Merton, to assist in making the alterations. I think I should have persuaded you to have kept the pike, and a clear stream, and to have put all the carp, tench, and fish who muddy the water into the pond, but, as you like, I am content. Only take care that my darling does not fall in, and get drowned. I begged you to get the little netting along the edge, and particularly on the bridges. I admire the seal, and God bless you also. Amen. The boy South is on board another ship, learning to be a musician. He will return soon, when he shall have the letter and money. I hope he will deserve it, but he has been a very bad boy. But good floggings, I hope, will save him from the gallows. Mr. Falcon is a clever man. He would not have made such a blunder as our friend Drake and Spencer Smith. I hear the last is coming via Trieste to Malta. Perhaps he wants to get to Constantinople, and if the Spencers get in, the Smiths will get anything. Mr. Elliot, I hear, is a candidate for it. He complains of the expense of Naples, I hear, and that he cannot make both ends meet, although he sees no company. The histories of the Queen are beyond whatever I have heard from Sir William. Prince Leopold's establishment is all French. The Queen's favourite, Lieutenant Colonel Sinclair, was a subaltern, Latour, the captain in the navy, and another. However, I never touch on these matters, for I care not how she amuses herself. It will be the upset of Acton, or rather, he will not, I am told, stay. The King is angry with her. His love is long gone by. I have only one word more. Do not believe a syllable the newspapers say, or what you hear. Mankind seems fond of telling lies. Remember me kindly to Mrs. Cadogan and all our mutual friends, and be assured I am for ever, my dearest Emma, your most faithful and affectionate Nelson and Brontë. George Campbell desires me always to present his best respects, and make mine to good Mr. Younger. What can I write him? I am sure he must have great pleasure in attending you, and when you see Sir William Scott, make my best regards acceptable to him. There is no man I have a higher opinion of, both as a public and private character. You will long ago have had my letter, with one to Davison, desiring he will pay for the alterations at Merton. I shall send you a letter for the £100 a month, to the bank. Letter 48. Victory, June the 6th, 1804. Since I wrote you, my dearest Emma, on the 30th and 31st of May, nothing new has happened, except our hearing the feu de joie at Toulon for the declaration of Emperor. What a capricious nation those French must be! However, I think it must in any way be advantageous to England. There ends, for a century, all republics. By vessels from Marseilles, the French think it will be a peace, and they say that several of their merchant ships are fitting out. I earnestly pray that it may be so, and that we may have a few years of rest. I rather believe my antagonist at Toulon begins to be angry with me. At least, I am trying to make him so, and then he may come out and beat me, as he said he did off Boulogne. He is the admiral that went to Naples in December 1792, La Touche-Treville, who landed the Grenadiers. I owe him something for that. I am better, my dear Emma, than I have been, and shall get through the summer very well, and I have the pleasure to tell you that Charles is very much recovered. There is no more the matter with his intellects than with mine. Quite the contrary, he is very quick. Mr. Scott, who has overlooked all his things, says his clothes, etc., are in the highest order he has ever seen. I shall place him in the Niger, with Captain Hillier when he joins, but all our ships are so full that it is very difficult to get a berth for any one in any ship. Would you conceive it possible? But it is now from April the 2nd since I heard direct from Ball. The average time for a frigate to go and return is from 6 to 7 weeks. From you I had letters April the 5th, and the papers to April the 8th, received May the 10th with a convoy. This goes through friend Gaynor. Sir William Bolton joined last night, and received his letters, announcing his being called Papa. He is got a very fine young man and good officer. Lord St. Vincent has desired he may have the first Admiralty vacancy for post, but nobody will die, or go home. Apropos, I believe you should buy a piece of plate, value £50, for our goddaughter of Lady Bolton, and something of £20 or £30 value for Colonel Suckling's. But, my Emma, you are not to pay for them. Let it rest for me, or, if the amount is sent me, I will order payment. Remember me most kindly to Horatia, good Mrs. Cadogan, Charlotte, Miss Connor, and all our friends at dear, dear Merton, where, from my soul, I wish I was this moment. Then, I sincerely hope, we should have no cause for sorrow. You will say what is right to Mr. Perry, Newton, Patterson, Mr. Lancaster, etc. You know all these matters. God in heaven bless and preserve you for ever. Praise, ever, yours most faithfully. Letter 49. Victory, June the 10th, 1804. My dearest Emma, I wrote to you on the 6th, via Rosas. This goes by Barcelona, to which place I am sending Sir William Bolton to fetch Dr. Scott, who is gone there, poor fellow, for the benefit of his health. I have just had very melancholy letters from the King and Queen of Naples, on account of General Acton's going to Sicily. The insolence of Bonaparte was not to be parried without a war, for which they are unable, if unassisted. I have letters from Acton, May the 28th, on board the Archimedes, just going into Palermo. He will probably return to Naples, unless new events arise, and that may be, for a minister, once out, may find some difficulty in renewing his post. He has acted with great and becoming spirit. I am better, but I have been very unwell. It blows here as much as ever. Yesterday was a little hurricane of wind. I dare say Prince Castelcicala knows it by express. If not, you may tell him, with my best respects. He and every one else may be sure of my attachment to those good sovereigns. By this route, I do not choose to say more on this subject. With my kindest regards to Horatia, and your good mother, Charlotte, Miss C., and all our friends, believe me, my dear Emma, for ever your most faithful and affectionate. I fear Sardinia will be invaded from Corsica before you get this letter. I have not small ships to send there, or anywhere else, not in the proportion of 1 to 5. You may communicate this to Mr. Addington, if you think that he does not know it, but to no one else, except Castelcicala, of what relates to Naples. I have very flattering letters from the Grand Vizier in the name of the Sultan, and from Kadir, now Capitan Pasha. Letter 50. Victory, July the 1st, 1804. Although I wrote you, my dearest Emma, a letter by Rosas of June the 27th, not yet gone, the weather being so very bad that ships cannot get across the Gulf of Lions, yet I will not miss the opportunity of writing by Gibraltar. You must not, my Emma, think of hearing from me by way of Malta. It takes as long to send a letter to Malta as to England. The Monmouth, which you complain of not hearing by, I know nothing of her movements for some months before. The ships from Malta, with the convoys, pick up our letters at Gibraltar. Therefore, do not hurt my feelings by telling me that I neglect any opportunity of writing. Your letters of April the 13th, 22nd, and May the 13th, through Mr. Falconet, came safe a few days ago. Mr. Falconet is the French banker, and he dare not buy a little macaroni for me, or let an Englishman into his house. Gibbs is still at Palermo. I fancy he will make a good thing of my estate. However, I wish it was settled. He wrote me a short time since that he wished I would give him a hint, but without noticing that it came from him, that I thought Mrs. Grafer and her child had better go to England, on pretence of educating her daughter, etc. But I would have nothing to do with any such recommendation. It would end in her coming to me in England, and saying that she could not live upon what she had, and that I advised her to come to England, or she would not have thought of it. In short, Gibbs wants to remove her. He is afraid of his pocket, I fancy, and the daughter is, I fancy, now in some seminary at Palermo, at Gibbs' expense. I wrote him word fully I would advise no such thing. She was to form her own judgment. What our friends are after at Naples, they best know. The poor king is miserable at the loss of Acton. The Queen writes me about honest Acton, etc., etc., and I hear that she has been the cause of ousting him, and they say, her enemies, that her conduct is all French. That I do not believe, although she is likely to be the dupe of French emigres, who always beset her. I doubt much, my dear Emma, even her constancy of real friendship to you, although in my letter to Acton, which Mr. Elliot says he read to her, I mentioned the obligations she was under to you, etc., etc., in very strong terms. What could the name of the minister signify? It was the letter which was wanted to the Prime Minister. But never mind, with prudence, we shall do very well. I have wrote to Davison by land, who I am very sorry for, but he never would take a friend's caution, and he has been severely bit. Your accounts of Merton delight me, and you will long ago have known that I have directed the bills for the alterations to be paid. I never could have intended to have taken it from the £100 a month. You will not hear of me making prize money. I have not paid my expenses these last 9 months. I shall expect to eat my Christmas dinner at Merton, unless those events happen which I can neither foresee nor prevent. I am not well, and must have rest for a few months, even should the country want me, which very likely they will not. News I can have none. April the 9th, Leviathan sailed, so Government don't care much for us. Kiss my dear Horatia for me. I hope you will have her at Merton, and believe me, my dear Emma, that I am for ever, as ever, your attached, faithful, and affectionate Nelson and Brontë. End of section 2. Recording by Adrian Wheel.